What's up, everyone, and welcome to Last Week in Star Wars. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
And this is going to be a bit of a quicker episode because we're leaving for Tokyo in just a few days, and Molly still needs to pack.
You know, I really hate packing.
I still have to pack too, but it doesn't take me that long.
It's hard for me to decide what to wear on any given day here, let alone plan out 2 weeks worth of outfits in Japan.
We are going to have a podcast episode next week. It'll be a little different. We're going to do Celebration Bingo and create bingo cards. So we're going to have something come out on that Saturday. And then, of course, at Celebration, we'll be covering things and putting videos out. But last week in Star Wars, this format, we're going to have to take a small break while we're away and traveling. Fortunately, it was kind of a light week in terms of news and news stories, so let's just get into that news. Tales of the Underworld was announced the other day, just as a complete surprise.
I was really shocked at that. I was like, shouldn't they be saving their announcements for Celebration? But hopefully that means that they have just like even juicier announcements.
Yeah, knowing that this comes out on May 4th, I think that they just wanted to have a little more lead up time, like a month in advance. Like, let's let everyone know. If they waited until the 18th is the animation panel, then they would only had like two and a half weeks to let people know.
Right.
So yeah, I agree that I'm like hopeful that there's still some more to announce at the animation panel.
It would really help us out if they just didn't announce anything fun or new until Celebration.
Yeah, just keep it quiet, Lucasfilm.
We're trying to have a little vacation.
We're trying to relax. I mean, I will say, like, I've already committed, because I'm usually the one that if news drops while we're out and about, I'm like, I want to cover it. I'm like, we're not going to cover anything while we're gone. We have videos scheduled. It'll seem like we're still around, but
I'll probably still make Instagram posts, but I can do those quick.
Yeah. So I'm not going to be recording videos on vacation. But as far as Tales of the Underworld goes, this comes out on May 4th. It's going to be 6 total episodes, 3 about Asajj Ventress, 3 about Cad Bane, and there was a little plot synopsis on StarWars.com. It says Asajj Ventress is given a new chance at life and must go on the run with an unexpected new ally, and outlaw Cad Bane faces his past when he confronts an old friend, now a marshal on the other side of the law. And there's a new Inquisitor revealed in the trailer, which I have an updated version of the Inquisitor video in the works, and I was like, haha, nice try, Star Wars.
Not
today.
This stuff.
Last time, I think I put it out, and then they announced Tales of the Empire and showed off Barriss Offee as an Inquisitor like a month later. And this time, I'm ready. So what do you think of that plot synopsis?
I am excited for it. It sounds like maybe we'll get to see how Ventress survived or like
came back.
Maybe they'll go into that. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just like go straight into whatever the story is for these 3 episodes. But any new Ventress stuff has me hyped.
I think the line Asajj Ventress is given a new chance at life will probably explain what happened. Not to mention, going back to season 3 of The Bad Batch, they kind of straight up said, like, these questions will be answered in future content. So
yeah, she reminds me of like Starbuck. Maybe like Starbuck had that weird turn of events in Battlestar where
she died and then she came back as an angel?
Question mark? So yeah, I'll be really interested to see how this works.
Yeah. I don't think Asajj is going to come back as an angel. I think she genuinely will be alive again, probably to Night Sister shenanigans.
I was going to say, maybe some Night Sisters are like cats and they have 9 lives.
Well, we know there are other witches on Dathomir, and we just met like the Mountain Clan in Tales of the Empire, so maybe one of the more like benevolent light side witches will show up and be like, I can help. Bing.
Yeah. Because the way she died, she kind of like, it was kind of a selfless act.
Sure.
So maybe she gets rewarded or something.
Yeah, it's a very fantasy, like the cosmic force decided that you're not done yet.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see if they make that feel satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, I'm glad that it will probably get explained. She looks like the unexpected new ally in the trailer looks to be a young Jedi, maybe in hiding.
Like, yeah, like a Padawan.
Yeah. So maybe she finds someone that she would have called an enemy during the Clone Wars, but now they're going to team up and maybe she helps him live. We did talk about maybe she could be connected to the path.
Yeah, I like that idea. I hope that maybe she's working with the path. Maybe we'll see Quinlan, but for her to be kind of traveling with this Padawan, keeping him safe, getting him to the other members of the path, maybe.
Do you expect to see Quinlan? I guess right now I'm like, maybe not, just because their relationship was built up in the books. Although, like, they're probably definitely going to reference Dark Disciple and the fact that she died.
Well,
So
after the name drop in Obi-Wan,
yeah,
I think there's a good chance.
I would definitely like to see their relationship portrayed on screen. I just wonder how much they're going to get into it. There could be a chance that like one of the episodes is kind of an adaptation of Dark Disciple, seeing as one of the Ahsoka episodes of Tales of the Jedi was kind of an adaptation of the Ahsoka novel. Although they changed some things and that upset people, so maybe they won't do that this time around.
I'd probably get ready for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. The Cad Bane stuff is a little more difficult to speculate on because we just don't know as much of his story. I guess like with Asajj, we have some gaps that we know we can fill in, but Cad Bane, it's like they're just gonna maybe tell us some of his childhood and he had this old friend and now they're enemies and
it's another of his species, right?
Yeah, another Duros.
So yeah, I was like, maybe this is like a relative or a brother even, or yeah, maybe just a close friend. It would be nice to get to know Cad Bane a little bit better. He's always kind of just thrown in as the baddie, and it would be kind of nice if they humanized him a little bit.
Yeah, we don't know much about his history at all, so, it's always fun to get a lore drop. The poster also shows off Latz Razzie and Highsinger, so that's fun. This seems almost like a Tales of the Bounty Hunters kind of thing, so I'm always curious about, like, how they go about choosing these titles.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't necessarily want to limit it to just bounty hunters, and by calling it Underworld, you have someone like Ventress who used to be a bounty hunter.
It does say that she's still a bounty hunter in the synopsis, so yeah, it'll be curious to see kind of how she operates.
Maybe
if she is still a bounty hunter.
Maybe like on paper she says she's still a bounty hunter, but we know. We know that's not true. Or maybe a little bit true, but not in the sense that like Cad Bane is a bounty hunter.
She keeps getting sent on missions like with Omega where she's like, I'm gonna go make a lot of credits, and then she meets this kid and she's like, dang it, I'm not gonna turn you in, and then she like is sent after this Padawan and she's like, dang it, I'm not gonna turn you in.
Dang it. She's
the worst bounty hunter. Like, Asajj, you gotta finish a job every once in a while. Stop falling in love with all these children.
I have this new lease on life and suddenly I can't do my job right.
I mean, that is like a fun way to look at it is, new lease on life, and this was what you were. You were a bounty hunter. Are you going to stick with it? And actually, if you look back at Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire, they always kind of have these mirrored stories where you've got Ahsoka and Dooku who both walk away from the Order. Dooku goes dark. Ahsoka kind of comes back. You got Barasafi and Morgan Elsbeth who lose everything, and Morgan stays down that path, and Barriss finds her way off of it. So we could get Asajj going back to the light and Cad Bane continuing on.
Yeah, there seems to be a solid balance between light and dark in these, which is very Star Wars.
I wonder if there will be a Cad Bane story post Book of Boba Fett, because there have always been, people speculating that he survived being stabbed and there was like a little light on his chest or something that was blinking, and
that would be
people
cool.
Never die in Star Wars. So.
Especially since they've kind of basically been like, we never really planned to do a second season of this show. I wouldn't mind if they went into that a little bit in animation.
Yeah, I wonder how far down the road we're going to get with Cad Bane, or if it's all going to be more like origin story stuff. Moving on to last week in canon, also just kind of a light week. The new young adult novel Into the Light did come out. I have seen a couple people asking where my review is. I haven't finished the book yet. Sometimes we get books early, sometimes we don't. Didn't get this one early, so I'm reading it right now. Unfortunately, with Celebration and everything, I probably won't get a review out until after Celebration. I'm planning on reading it on the plane. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be making any videos while I'm out there. But the good news is I can do a full spoiler review on it.
Yeah.
I always feel bad talking in too much detail about a brand new book. But if it's a few weeks later, I'm just going to talk all about it.
Yeah. Maybe you can read it out loud to me.
On the plane?
On the plane.
Yeah, everyone would love that. But a new comic issue came out as well. This is issue 2 of Ghost Agents. This is like the Bad Batch all ages comic, and it involves Asajj Ventress again. So
Yay.
Good week for her.
She is like kind of in disguise in this issue, but we all know.
Yeah, I mean, like
we've got her lightsabers and the wraps, her outfit. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they didn't straight up confirm it, but she has her mask on from season 5 of the Clone Wars. She has the wraps. She has the light. Like, it's her.
Mm-hmm. And she's got the sass.
Yes. So the Bad Batch have been hunting this thief, which is Asajj. They track her to Kessel, but Imbo keeps getting in their way. And as her getaway ship takes off, Hunter jumps on and is stuck, trapped on that ship. He's hidden, at least. She doesn't know he's there. But this is kind of fun, just getting their first encounter with Asajj.
I assume they don't meet face to face because they seem to not remember her when we see them meet up again in Bad Batch season 3.
Maybe the mask stays on the whole time, so they don't know for sure.
Yeah,
I'd have to go back and think about it. Like, I need to revisit exactly what they said about her. They knew who she was for sure, and they were on edge. But I feel like Echo had to come in and say, like, oh, that's Asajj Ventress. And they did not seem to recognize her.
Maybe with the different hair and the different lightsabers, they just assume it's someone else.
Yeah, there could be that. I mean, we could hand wave that away. Or they all see her face, they fight, and then she punches them all really hard in the head and they forget.
They all forget, conveniently.
But that's it for last week in canon. Next week, we're going to get a new manga, Edge of Balance Premonition. That's fitting. I might be able to read that on the plane or on a bullet train.
Planes, trains?
Somewhere. And Jedi Knights issue 2 is coming out, which I'm very excited. That'll be on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for more of that series.
Me too. But we're going to move on to last week in questions. And first up, speaking of Star Wars Celebration, Brino Lira asks what our plans for coverage are. So I think we're going to do our best to cover all of the major panels. We are in like the galaxy stage for Mando and Grogu. We didn't get into all of them through the lottery, so we'll see what we learn and what we don't. But
yeah, it's a lot of it's gonna just be us playing it by ear. When news drops, I might be able to make a post about it, but as far as like videos on the YouTube channel, it'll take some time for us to get those out.
But the timing should hopefully work out a little bit if you're in the United States.
Yeah.
The timing for us here on the East Coast of the US would probably be fairly good. So like we're going to stay at Celebration all day, learn what we learn, and then we'll probably pop back to the hotel room, make a few videos, and put them out as we can. But we are going to cover as much as we can.
Hopefully there's a lot of fun stuff for us to talk about.
There's also the publishing panels, and there's the animation panel on Friday. So those are more we just have to like get in line for. We got Andor and Ahsoka and the Bit Reactor panel on Saturday, and then Visions on Sunday. So yeah, we're going to try to cover as much as we can. Obviously, subscribe here on YouTube for those videos, and then our Instagram is probably the other best place to follow along.
Instagram, I can try to make posts on YouTube as well, but Instagram, Blue Sky should
Yeah, might try to live blute some of the panels.
What is it they actually call it? Scoot?
Skeet?
Skeet? Bleat?
I like blute.
I like blute. I'm sticking with blute. A bluted.
Oh, sorry, I bluted. Why doesn't anyone want to sit next to me? I keep bluting.
I'm live bluting this panel.
Straight bluting. Zacharias asks if Andor Season 2 could change Lucasfilm's approach to future streaming projects. So basically, like, could we get more shows like Andor?
As in, like, the quote-unquote, like, gritty...
Or, like, more, yeah, a little more adult-oriented.
I hope so. I mean, it would make sense for them to do more of that because of how highly anticipated the season 2 is and like how well the first season did. We'll see about the Emmys for the second season, but yeah, I mean, I would hope that this inspires them to do more.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be playing up all the critical praise in that first trailer. So I do think that Disney and Lucasfilm are proud of this show and of the second season. And yeah, it seems like that's part of the reason that they're releasing 3 episodes at a time is so it can all be considered for next year's Emmys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. Like, I do hope that they continue making stuff like this because I'm very much in the camp of you got to keep making stuff for the new generation, but you know, there are adults who have loved Star Wars for a long, long time, and I don't think everything... I'm not one of those people that's like, make Tony Gilroy in charge of all of Star Wars moving forward. I'm like, no, I still want the variety, but I really like this flavor of Star Wars, and I hope that Andor is not like season 2 and then never again.
And also, there's other like franchises out there doing similar things, like the Penguin show for HBO, and that kind of started with, I guess, Christopher Nolan's Batman was like the first trilogy for Batman where people were like, oh yeah, this is like new and dark and gritty and like not silly.
Well, it's interesting that like it's funny looking at Batman of the first Batman, Michael Keaton, was I think fairly dark and so was Penguin, but then like that universe kept going and it got sillier and sillier and they were like, let's hit a reset.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I definitely think there's elements to that first Batman movie where people would say like there's like a big musical number with the Prince song and the Joker is like a little sillier, but yeah.
It still definitely has camp to it. It's like, it's so interesting looking at the Batman movies where...
Camp is a better way to put it.
It starts out like with some camp, but also people were like, oh, this is kind of like some serious Batman, especially like look back at the 1960s show. Mm-hmm. So campy, so silly. I loved it. I loved that show growing up. But then they were like, hit reset, like, let's make it a little more serious. And then it got a little silly. And they were like, hit reset. It's even more serious. And now you go to like the Matt Reeves Batman and it's so serious.
Yeah.
Like it keeps getting like more and more realistic.
Yeah. So I think if that is to tell us anything, I think Star Wars should keep that in mind. And not that every new Star Wars thing going forward should be similar to that, but they should think, okay, what's another project that we can do similar to this?
I think of it kind of like Lego, where we still love Lego. I grew up with them. I still have my collection of childhood Legos, and obviously they still make Lego sets for kids, but they also have like, this is a Lego set in a black box.
Yeah.
It's for adults.
It costs a lot more.
It costs more. It's a nice display piece.
But they have like the flower sets too,
right?
Which are all over the place as far as the price range goes. But that's something that like a lot of people will just like have and like display in their house. Like I know a lot of women who have those that don't normally build Lego.
Yeah. And I think Lego has so much variety, and that's a good thing. They still make Duplo, they still make Lego sets for kids and for like younger franchises.
They still do like the movies and the video games.
And their shows. And yeah, they go all the way up to adults where, yeah, like a young kid probably wouldn't want to sit there and build this Star Destroyer that's so many pieces. It's all gray and you can't even really play with it at the end.
Sounds awful.
But to me, I'm like, yes, give it to me. So like, I think Star Wars just needs to continue with that variety. Like, yeah, we got Young Jedi Adventures. We're hopefully going to get a new animated series announced. We've got like very fun, pulpy, goofy things in like The Mandalorian or Skeleton Crew, which like those are just a joy to watch. But then you also have Andor, which I keep saying it's not a fun show, but
Right.
like it is, but not in the like, what a wild ride way. It's like just so intense.
Yeah, it's a nail biter.
Yeah. But that's it for last week in Star Wars. Tune in next week. We're going to do our celebration bingo. We're going to make bingo cards, and you can make your own and follow along, and we'll see if we get bingo while we're at celebration.
Yeah, what are we gonna do if we get bingo?
I don't know. I just figured it would be bragging rights, like when we did Love is Blind bingo.
Yeah. If one of us gets bingo and one of us doesn't, maybe that person gets the middle seat or the aisle seat on the way home.
Okay, yeah, you get to choose the seat first on the plane ride home.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. But if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.
And consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.